So in this video, we are discussing the following question that it is about the GDP data in India. So many economists believe that GDP in India are unreliable because the average firm employs just a handful of people and the overwhelming majority of the adult population works off the book and far from major cities. So the question in this statement is the following. First of all, what does the article mean by working off the book? So I think this article relates to the following concept: formal sector versus informal sector. So when we're talking about formal sector, we are talking about the outputs of the sector are measured by the GDP. While informal sector means the output of the measure of the sector are not measured by GDP. So what off the books means in the article is that a lot of the Indian economy is under the informal sector. For example, they are just individual farmers, or probably some of them are operating illegally. So anyway, their output are not measured into the formal GDP of the India. Therefore, the India's GDP does not reflect the actual performance of the Indian economy. So the second part of the problem asks that why would the problems listed make it difficult for the Indian government to accurately measure GDP? Again, like we mentioned, so because a lot of the farmers or the adult population works in informal sector. For example, they are far away from major cities. They probably are operating illegal economy. That's the reason why it is difficult for the Indian government to measure their output. The third part of the question asks, what problems can be caused by the government or for businesses in a country if the government cannot accurately measure GDP? So if the government cannot measure GDP, they do not have a full picture of how well-being the economy is. It could be affect how they, generate policies, right? Given that they do not know how well, or they do not accurately know how well the economy is doing, they could produce some policy that are not really useful and they are not really effective. And that could be one problem. And a second problem is many businesses make their business decisions based on the GDP. It is kind of like a signal. And if the GDP does not reflect the real performance of the economy, that could lead to bad business decisions as well. So yeah, I think that could be the downside of using the GDP as a measure of the economy. But also, the importance of using accurately measured GDP is pretty significant as well.